Okay, so what's your name?
Tremaine Robertson.
How old are you?
I am old as 44. Old as
And where
Methuselah.
do you live?
I live in Chicago, Hyde Park.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions about police brutality and how you feel on certain subjects. So the first question is, how do you feel about police brutality and the recent killings of innocent black men that swarmed the media in the recent years?
Uh, First word that comes to mind for me is frustrated, troubled, um, sad, and angry. It's a lot of emotions I go through for both sides. From the victim side, it's like, you have so many people affected from the loss of one life. I think I want to say from the first side, I want to say from the police side, I think there's so many other ways you can de-escalate a situation as opposed to immediately running up with violence. Like from when I can remember when I was in college, we were taught by actual police officers. A couple of my classes were taught by police officers, and their biggest thing was always de-escalation and assessing the situation before the use of any force. And I can't understand how police always run up on the situation, before assessing. Because if you sit back for a little while and you wait for backup and you kind of just assess the situation, maybe you don't have to pull out your gun and shoot somebody. Maybe you have a minute to think about maybe using your taser or waiting for backup and try to talk the guy down, whatever type of weapon he has. Uh, like, I even when you think about guys on the street killing each other, you say, why is a gun always your first option? Aren't there other options? Can't you just talk it out or just have a fight and walk away? I think the same thing with police, and they're actually trained to handle these situations. So for your first thought to be is pull out the gun and use violence. I think it's cowardly. I think it's a lack of training. I think some of it's racist. People always say we want to throw race in there, but it's a fact. The numbers don't, the numbers back it. It's racist, and it's just something that needs to be addressed. And I think the only way it can get addressed and something can be done is if the police start to admit that the things that they're doing are wrong. Like maybe they could approach a situation differently. We all understand the risk you take in that job. You want to come home to your family. The regular general public wants you to come home to your family, but we all want to go to home our families too. So whenever you approach a situation, your first thought should always be, I want to send everybody home, not gung ho, guns blazing. This is not the Wild Wild West. These are lives and people we're talking about. So how about you just wait for backup, or just take the badge off. Mm-hmm. If you feel like you have a racist bone in your body, if you feel like you're a coward, if you feel like you're afraid, if you feel like this job is not for you, just take the badge off. Be real with yourself. It's not for everybody. You have some great police officers, and everybody always tries to change the argument. The police tries to change the argument. The people try to change the argument. Black folks try to change the argument. White folks try to change the argument. When it's simple, no right from wrong.
Yes.
Period.
All right. That's too long. Exactly. Okay, so what emotions do you feel when you get pulled over?
I'm afraid first and foremost, because I just don't know what the intent is of the person who's pulling me over. Like I said, there's a lot of good cops out there, but there's also a ton of bad apples out there that people are allowing to just go out there and go rogue. So I'm always going to be, respectful, but I'm afraid. I'm hopeful that the person has a good heart and is an actual there to serve me because I do pay his salary. And I'm also just a little bit nervous, but at the same time, I'm confident because all my stuff is in order. I have my license, I have my insurance, and I'm not up to nothing. So hopefully it's just two sensible people having a conversation about what I may or not done wrong, and finishing it up in a civil way.
Mm-hmm. So, do you agree with the movements put on by civilians like Colin Kaepernick's Take a Knee movement?
I mean, I do. I do. I think people, man, we talked about this today. I think everybody is just overly sensitive about everything. Everybody's finding a way to be mad at somebody else, when your only focus should be about you and whatever's best for you and your own family and yourself. If what somebody else is doing is not affecting how you eat, how you make money, how you provide to your family, how you sleep at night, if somebody taking a knee is affecting you that much, whether you feel like it's aimed at the military or you just want to watch a football game, why are you so offended? You can always turn your head. You can always just understand, like, oh man, he's just taking a knee. That shit don't bother me. Let me just live my life. But everybody always coming up with these fake ass, oh, I believe in this, I believe in that. Instead of just saying, hey man, life is about right from wrong. Life is about don't wrong somebody. Life is about respect other people's property, respect other people, be nice, play nice, be happy. We taught that as kids. If you're growing up thinking a different way, you were taught that. It's just basically that simple. Stop believing in all this. I'm mad at people making fur coats. I'm mad at people wearing hair. Just live your life. And if you live your life and mind your own business, man, things will be fine.
Yeah. So when we made the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and some people turned it into Blue Lives Matter, and then other people turned it into All Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like contradicting Black Lives Matter, as if the movement was made to say that only Black Lives Matter. How did that make you feel?
It just made me feel like people are cowards, and people are always coming up with something just to oppose things that they know are actual facts and truth. For me, it's their way of denial. As the thing that really angers me, the police, right? Citizens pay their salary to protect us. On the side of most cars, it says protect and serve, not harass and, be physical with, right? When you pull up, if nothing's criminal, I think your first thing should be, hey, how's everything? How can I serve you? But they come up with this Blue Lives Matter, like it's open season on police. Take the badge off. If it's too much for you, if you're a coward, if you're a racist, again, if you know in your heart you're not meant for that job, take the badge off. Blue lives, your life ain't blue, bruh. Your uniform is blue, dumbass. And excuse my language, but it angers me because it's cowardly. I'm black. I live with this every day. You weren't bought into slavery in a police uniform. Your wife, mom, kids weren't beaten and raped and hung and dragged in a police uniform. Like, are you kidding me? To come up with those slogans, you're a coward, you're uneducated, and you're just, again, one of those fake ass people that's trying to find something to believe in. It's just that simple. All lives matter. That's understood. Are you a dumbass? Have you never been to school? Have you never been educated before? That's understood. We understand that. When you bring me a race, I can even go with if Jewish people said Jewish lives matter. Holocaust, the stuff that they've been through. Indian lives matter. We get it. Man, you come to me talking about some white lives matter and all this privilege and 500 years of a head start that you've had, having everything you've ever wanted in your life. Man, kill me with that. Go about your life. I don't care about that. Blue lives, take the badge off, go home, sit down, be a coward at home. All lives, we understand. Shut up. We get it. Understand where we're coming from. Understand what people have been through. Whether it's, families from people who died of suicide lives matter. People that go through shit, have they have a voice and they have the right to, talk about what they've been through and however they do it. But, Black Lives Matter was first. It's always going to be first. Just like everything else people steal from us. Without us, there would be no nothing. So it is what it is. We're used to it. We're going to keep pushing it, and we're going to win. It's that simple.
Okay, so my last question for you is, what do you think should be done to bring awareness to police brutality, and how can we change as a society?
I don't know if there's anything we can do. All we can do is continue to vote, to get these aldermen and city council members to get in there and appoint the right people. From a police side, it just needs to be retrained. It again, when you're a kid, you're not born racist. You're taught to be a racist. You're brought up in that household. You don't know who's black or who's Asian or Mexican when you're a baby. That's all taught. In the police department, the shit that you're doing, man, you taught that. You're taught to run up on the situation. You can't tell me you're not. You can look at these captains and these sergeants and all these police academy trainers and say, well, we're teaching people to value human lives. You're not, because if you were, just like when you play basketball, the harder you practice that stuff, the better you are on the court. If you're practicing to be a good police officer, to de-escalate, to, stay in shape and not be fat and be a coward and don't know how to fight, so you worse than these dudes out here on the street. Well, you just can't fight, so you just pull out a gun and shoot somebody because you're afraid, instead of learning how to de-escalate the situation. Training, it has to start back at home at the academy, and it have to be retrained once every 3 years. I don't care how they do it, but retrain people that your job first and foremost is to serve and protect. You are paid, taxes are taken out of people's checks to pay your salary to serve and protect them. This is not the Wild Wild West. This is not slavery where you're trying to keep people in line. We're not sheep. You're not the shepherd dog. We are fucking human beings, and you need to be trained as such. You need to be able to, if you see somebody coming at you with a knife, man, you got a taser, you got a billy club, and you got them hands. If you're not about that life, take the badge off. Go be a businessman. Get in the business suit. There's so many other things you can do. But if you out there to stick out your chest and because you were bullied as a child, now you got a badge and a gun behind you, so you want to be tough shit, man, take it off and go home and be the coward that you are. To change, it has to start at home. It has to start with the police department. It has to start with the mayor. The biggest thing, people just have to stop being so fucking greedy. Money is just causing everybody to just lose their minds. It's enough for everybody, man. You don't need all that. Stop taking payoffs. Stop being corrupt. And just start, if you can't do nothing but incorporate a little bit of right from wrong. Just a little bit. They'll say, hey, man, that's just wrong. Just say it's wrong. Don't try to cover it up. Oh, well, he was running at him as a knife. When the camera clearly doesn't show that. And people are afraid to say the truth because of power, and they're afraid of their lives, and they're afraid of what's going to happen because people are just turning into cowards, man. Nobody wants to work together. So it just has to start locally. Police training, accountability by city officials, and just, every year, man, just ask them, man, do you think, the number one question would be, do you think you're fit to wear this badge? Just really look inside yourself and ask yourself, are you fit to wear this badge and serve and protect people, not harass people? So I think that's the only way anything's going to change.
Thank you so much.
Now you know I'm militant.
Power to the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.